When it all began, contrary to your repeatedly addressed appeals to the United States and Israel, did you condemn what the United States and Israel began to do?
How is it that none of these quote-unquote Muslim Arab leaders could even condemn the bombing of the Manab Elementary School, where 168 presumably Muslim school children were killed, and they didn't even say a word? But it's not hard for the Russian foreign minister, the leader of a Christian-led country, he himself also a Christian. It's not hard for him to say it. It's not hard for him to condemn it.
And for example, did you condemn the deaths of 170 girls in a school?
A group of GCC, these Arab Zionist leaders, their ambassadors, all in Moscow, came and had a meeting with the Russian foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov. And in this meeting, you'll see they ask him, well, Foreign Minister Lavrov, we know you have a good relationship with Iran. We need you to put the pressure on Iran to guarantee a ceasefire or something like that. We need you to stop this war once and for all. We need a permanent ceasefire. They can't strike our buildings in the Arab countries anymore. And by the way, it was just revealed about an hour ago that one of the buildings that was hit was the former Israeli embassy in the UAE. But, leave that aside for a moment. We could go through all of the sensitive targets, CIA, Department of Defense, Israeli targets that were hit in the UAE and in other countries. But Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, he seemed to be so pissed off in the middle of this diatribe that this Arab representative was going on from the GCC that he interrupts the ambassador mid-sentence and he lays down the law. Let's take a listen and break it down.
On behalf of the ambassadors in Moscow, I would like to thank Your Excellency for holding this meeting with us. And also on behalf of the Arab countries of the Gulf, I would like to thank you for the telephone conversation of your president with our leader. Our countries and the Arab countries of the Gulf are facing aggression from Iran. It represents a threat to our civilian infrastructure. Over the last week, many people have been killed. We know that you have a special strategic relationship with Iran. Therefore, we hope that Russia will play a major role, will exert pressure on Iran to stop the aggression against our countries. You said that everyone knows that our countries are not parties to this conflict, and we have not acted against Iran. I would like to convey a message from our countries. Russia has a stronger position on this issue and can help stop the aggression against our countries. We also have strategic relations with Russia, and we want to exert more pressure on Iran in order to immediately stop this aggression. This will also help stop the conflict in the entire region.
All right, here goes Lavrov. He's like, so basically saying like, you need to do something. You need to stop Iran. He's spiraling. He's spiraling as the Shah heads come raining down. And this is Lavrov interrupts him. He's just like, bro, shut the fuck up.
The group of Arab states on whose behalf you speak did indeed warn. Many of the Arab monarchies publicly said that things should not be led toward a military solution and that they would not allow their airspace to be used, as I already said. When it all began, contrary to your repeatedly addressed appeals to the United States and Israel, did you condemn what the United States and Israel began to do?
How is it that none of these quote-unquote Muslim Arab leaders could even condemn the bombing of the Manab Elementary School, where 168 presumably Muslim school children were killed and they didn't even say a word? But it's not hard for the Russian foreign minister, the leader of a Christian-led country, he himself also a Christian. It's not hard for him to say it. It's not hard for him to condemn it.
And for example, did you condemn the deaths of 170 girls in a school?
Last spotlight, we talked about Saga Metals, trading as SAGMF in the United States and Saga, SAGA in Canada, and their acquisition of another titanium asset in the same district as the world's largest titanium mine. Today, that story is accelerating. Saga Metals just strengthened its position with the aptly named Wolverine project in Labrador. The global energy transition faces a critical bottleneck, a heavy rare earth element monopoly. Many of the elements essential for defense and advanced technology come from unstable or adversarial regions. Saga Metals offer a direct solution with the Wolverine project, a massive 100% owned asset in the safe Tier 1 jurisdiction of Labrador, Canada. Remember, this isn't just about mineral exploration. It's about national security. The Trump administration has declared it imperative to secure domestic supply chains for defense. The U.S. remains dangerously dependent on foreign sources. Around 80% of its rare earths come from abroad. To ensure long-term defense readiness, North America needs a new generational reserve. Saga Metals is currently finalizing a maiden resource of 100 million tons with a long-term conceptual target of over 1 billion tons. The Wolverine project could be a cornerstone of North America's secure supply of critical minerals for decades. I'll leave you with this. Saga's Wolverine project sits near the Voisey's Bay discovery, one of the most famous mining deals ever at over $4.3 billion. That deal is a perfect example of how a single discovery can transform a company. Early stage explorer, major discovery, multi-billion-dollar buyout. That's the kind of backdrop you're looking at here. Saga Metals is positioned in that same region with government mandates behind the sector, strong drill results, and a team executing year-round. In my view, the current valuation doesn't yet reflect the scale of what they're building. And with momentum accelerating, this is a story you need to be following closely. If you want to learn more about this critical mineral story, check out the link in the description, and a special thanks to Saga Metals for making today's video possible.
I believe that we must take a unified position. We are against the suffering of the Gulf countries, on whose behalf you speak. We believe that this does not provide our Arab colleagues with any military advantages. Politically, it is very doubtful that Iran gains anything from this, rather the opposite. But we also cannot accept the logic according to which Iran's actions are unacceptable.
It's so simple. These were the last words of Ali Larijani. You know, he was basically like, look, pick the side you want to be remembered for. You want to be remembered for standing with the U.S. and Israel, or you want to be remembered for standing with us. You know, you have to pick a side. There is no middle ground here. You're not condemning the U.S. and Israel. You're allowing them to use your soil to launch strikes on us. You know, you refuse to condemn even the most horrific acts that they commit against our people. And then you make the argument that despite the fact that missiles are being launched from the soil of Kuwait, of Bahrain, of Saudi Arabia, the planes are taking off from there, from Saudi Arabia at the very least, and they're, stationing personnel and these jets there. And of course the UAE and these other countries. But you say if Iran responds to that, it's unacceptable. Lavrov said, "Are you retarded? How is that unacceptable? How is that unacceptable if your soil is being used to launch attacks on them? How are they not allowed to respond? What is going on?"
While everything the U.S. and Israel do is not subject to discussion. Do you understand what I mean? It is an obvious thing. It lies on the surface. We advocate for the immediate cessation of aggression. We would be sincerely grateful to the Cooperation Council for the Arab states of the Gulf and to all the countries represented here if you would add your voice to this. Because, well, the reason for everything that is happening, we can say that Iran reacted in a way that not everyone expected. I agree with that. But a country in the middle of negotiations is subjected to aggression, treacherous aggression. They agreed to continue the negotiations. I spoke with the Minister of Foreign of Oman, Badr al-Busaidi. He is in shock that everything turned out this way at a moment when, in his estimation, solutions had been found. Therefore, yes, we are in solidarity with all the Gulf countries suffering from what is happening. We call for a united front for the cessation of this entire war. Simply saying that Iran has no right to do anything means that you are, well, effectively and openly encouraging the United States and Israel to continue.
Again, how is it so easy for Lavrov to say this, but not a single Arab leader could muster even 1/10 of what Lavrov is saying? He's saying, look, it's illogical for you to say that Iran must stop without some sort of a total end to this war. If you say that, you're just doing the bidding, you're doing the dirty work of the U.S. and Israel. It's really that simple. Not one, not Mohammed bin Zayed, not Mohammed bin Salman, not these royal families. They all are on Twitter condemning Iran. The Attorney General of the UAE sends me a letter saying I'm now banned from the UAE. I've never been. Thank God I never went to the Labubu Dubai chocolate OnlyFans country. But they say I'm banned from going to the country ever now because they said I violated their national laws. Because I thought it was, I was simply just posting videos of what was happening. I didn't even say anything bad about their leadership. Of course, now I have, but up until that point, I hadn't. I was posting videos of the strikes. So instead of just reflecting on anything that had happened over the past, even just the past month, they said, no, we're going to triple down on everything, and we're gonna force everyone to do this big propaganda tour aimed at delegitimizing Iran and smearing Iran. Just yesterday, the guy who's on Quran, the Quran.com or Quran app, he's the default voice for reading the Quran on all these like Quran apps and websites and Quran.com, and he came out. I believe he's I think it's owned by Saudi Arabia or the UAE, and he's from Kuwait, and he came out yesterday and said like, curse the hands of the Iranian leaders or something like that. And the number one comments on every single post he made and the video posts he made stating that were like, you didn't say curse the hands of Netanyahu. You didn't say curse the hands of Israel once. You didn't say that once throughout the entirety of the Gaza genocide. Not once. But now a few shahids in the direction of the U.S. base, Prince Sultan base in Saudi Arabia, and he's running and screaming. It's so shameful. It's so shameful. I hope that every single Quran website and app immediately removes that coward's voice from their websites. He's getting royalties from all of those, applications and websites. Remove him, ban him, make it a trend. Make it a trend in your countries, in Iraq and Iran. Pressure them to remove him because that's insane. That's insane. But this is the world we live in.
This is illogical. Let us all together advocate for the cessation of any hostilities, starting with a complete moratorium on attacks that lead to casualties among the civilian population and to the destruction of civilian infrastructure, as is happening in many Arab countries. We observe how the world economy is being deprived, at least for some prolonged period, of one of the main motors of its development, as an oil refinery is being liquidated. This is all terrible. By the way, I heard that your countries, I believe even Bahrain, now want to introduce a resolution in the UN Security Council in the spirit of what you said, to condemn the aggression of Iran without saying a single word about the actions of the U.S. and Israel. Well, probably this will only split countries. I am sure that the Americans, of course, will seize upon this initiative. It fully corresponds to their logic, which consists of the fact that it is necessary to finish off this regime, which has no right to exist. Last year, the Americans introduced a resolution on Ukraine to the UN Security Council, which called for the conflict to be ended as soon as possible. Well, there were some other additional points, but the meaning of the resolution was like that. Let us adopt the same resolution in the UN Security Council. We will be only for it. In my opinion, that would be...
So, he's saying, like, look, you guys are You're ludicrous. You're losing your minds. Introducing resolutions at the UN to condemn Iran, to force Iran to stop, resolutions condemning their attacks on the Gulf states. Meanwhile, none of you have condemned Israel or the U.S. for their attacks on Iran. I mean, what a world. Brother nations. But when it comes to Iran, they say, oh, we're not like them. We stand with the U.S. and Israel concerning Iran. We refuse to condemn them. We refuse to condemn the Manab elementary school bombing. We refuse to condemn the hospitals, the universities, the pharmacies, the grocery stores, the whatever it is, other elementary schools that were also bombed. Sickening. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.